Welcome to the inverted upside down. You're listening to Paranormal Now with Alan B. Smith, rebroadcast on the UNX Network, Thursdays at 11 p.m. Pacific, Fridays at 2 a.m. Eastern.
However you are and whenever you are, welcome, good souls, to Paranormal Now. This is Alan B. Smith. Join us as we traverse the cosmic highway of paranormal portals and tantalizing turnoffs. And tonight we are turning into the heavenly upside down. Unlike Stranger Things, we won't get lost in the darkness because we have Echo Bodine with us tonight, which I'm really excited about. This is going to be a fun journey for all of us. And I hope you all noticed that we have a little bit of a new introduction. I'm trying out a new setup here with the music and video. And I in the comment section, please let me know if you heard the music and if everything went smooth according to your perception. Hey, Travis. Hey, Jill, Genghis. Oh, wow. So many people. Okay. Victoria, thanks so much for jumping in, guys. This is going to be a really fun night. As a friendly reminder, if you're a fan of this program, please follow on Instagram at Paranormal Now and on Twitter, Paranormal_Now. And if you're a Facebooker, you can find us at Paranormal Now Radio. As usual, if you want coffee as badly as I do, the most cosmic coffee you can get, that's Alien Coffee Bean. Go to aliencoffeebean.com and put in the 20% off discount code mystery20, mystery20. Okay, and that's USA shipping only. Please subscribe to this channel as well. If you're a fan of the guests that we have, we do everything here. We go from cryptid, paranormal. We've covered everything from Satanism to angels to the afterlife to UFOs. So Atlantis last week, that was a great episode with Mark Vigato. So if this is the type of channel that you appreciate, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out. And I think many of us here are experiencers in our own right. And if you're an experiencer, I would suggest checking out the Half-Light documentary that I had completed just a few months ago. It's on this channel. It's a fairly short documentary, and it really takes a look at what happens internally to people who see things, not just UFOs, not just alien abductions, but it includes life after death, shadow people, and ghosts, psychedelic experiences, and it looks at all these subjects through the lens of the experiencer and how it has affected them emotionally and actually spiritually. So speaking in terms of spiritually, I'm happy to bring on Echo tonight. Echo is known internationally for her work as a spiritual healer and writer. She has appeared on numerous national television shows, including Sally Jesse Raphael and NBC's Later Today. She's the author of a number of books, including Hands That Heal, Echoes of the Soul, Relax, Little Book of Ghost Stories, and A Still Small Voice. She lives in Minnesota, and her website is echobodine.com. Echo, welcome to Paranormal Now.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I appreciate your approval. Thank you. So,
I'm excited.
yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, this is a topic that I think really is universal. It affects everyone, even if you don't believe in the afterlife. It opens up a door of, I think, debate and discussion, which really just leads to an introspection of oneself. So you don't necessarily have to be a believer to appreciate that sort of conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming at some point in your life, Echo, your mind started going in the direction of asking why and what happens. So what's your story, and how did you arrive there?
Oh, honey, what's my story?
Mm.
Well, Oh my goodness. I mean, the story that started way back
Well,
when,
yeah, let's kick it off. Yeah, the origin
okay,
story.
all right, here
Mhm.
we go. So, um, it was back in 1965, okay, and we had a really unusual experience in my family. One of my brothers saw a spirit, and well, I should really tell you because the story was very interesting. We were all sitting around the dinner table. We had finished eating. We were just chatting, and my one brother went downstairs to the den to practice on his drum set. And uh, let's see. All right. Sorry, I just got totally distracted. My
Drum set.
grandchildren, my
Mhm.
grandchildren are out the window waving at grandma. Okay, so oh
You
no,
know,
no,
this is all about connection anyway,
yeah.
right? So, okay.
Okay, so my brother, he's playing the drums, but he was in the beginning stages, so he didn't sound very good. And all of a sudden, this really nice drumming music came from the den, and we all stopped talking and looked at our dad, and he said, "I don't know, it must be the record I bought him." And it just it it was just this moment in time, Ellen, where everything
Mhm.
just seemed to stop. And then my brother came running up the stairs and said, "Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Did you hear it?" And we said, "Yeah, what was it?" He said, "A white figure floated through the door across the room, put its hands on top of my brother's hands, and played that really nice drumming music." My brother said, "I tried to drop my sticks. I had my eyes closed and I could still see them." Then the spirit floated back across the room and out the door. Okay, that's what started this whole deal. And
That's part 1.
that is part one. So
Mhm.
again, this was 1965. So it wasn't like psychics were on every corner or like you could pick up a newspaper and find one. No, you had to know somebody who had been to a psychic. And fortunately, my mom was in a prayer group at the time. And one of the women had mentioned to her that she went to a medium in St. Paul. Mom called her and said, "Could I have the name of that psychic?" And yes, so mom called the psychic and said, "Hi, my name is May Bodine, and we just had an unusual experience." Mrs. Olson, the psychic,
Mm.
says, "Yes, Mrs. Bodine, I've been expecting your phone call." And she said, "Your son just met his guardian angel, Dr. Fitzgerald, and when he was living on Earth, he was a drummer." Okay. And she said, "This happened for a
Mhm.
reason. I need to see you and your oldest daughter for a psychic reading." And so mom said, "Okay, I'll get back to
Ho
you on
Hold on
that."
one second ago. Hold
Yeah.
on one point. So the one thing that she is it one of those things where she could not have known that the drummer connection?
There's no way she could have known, honey. Oh my God.
Okay.
I mean, mom says, "Hello, Mrs. Olson. I'm May Bodine." And we had this experience. And Mrs. Olson says, "Yes, Mrs. Bodine, I've been expecting your phone call." It's like, what?
Mhm.
And
They
so, okay. So mom said, "I'll get back to you on that. I got to think about this." Hung up the phone,
Mhm.
told us kids what happened. It didn't bring any comfort to any of us to know that my brother had a guardian angel named Dr. Fitzgerald who played the drums. Okay, this
Yeah.
did not bring peace of mind to any of us. And then mom and I were really curious. Okay, why does she want to see us? And
Mhm.
so we called her back. We went and had an appointment with her, and she told me that I was born with all four of the psychic abilities with the gift of healing, that I would one day be a famous psychic, that I would write several books, be on radio and TV. And
Mhm.
Ellen, I looked at this woman and I said, "Okay, two things. One, I have no idea what you're talking about. And two, I don't want any of this stuff. I don't want to be a famous psychic someday. I was already accepted in college. I was just waiting to finish high school and off I was going to go." She said that a woman would call my mom soon and she would teach us how to develop our abilities. Okay. It was true, Alan. This woman, like 2 weeks later, out of the blue, calls
Mhm.
us and says, "My name is Bertie Torgeson. I'm a spiritualist minister here in Minneapolis. My spirit guides gave me your names and told me that I am supposed to help you develop your psychic abilities."
Okay.
Okay. She said, "I'm going to start teaching classes next Thursday in my home." She gave mom the address and she hung up the phone. That was it.
So two ways to look at this.
Yes.
It, even if it were a scam, like
Yeah.
she called someone else to, hey, call these people in 2 weeks. Even if that were the case, there is no way you could calculate and create such a projection of someone's life journey by running a con. There's just
Right.
no way. Yeah.
Right. Right. I know, honey. I'm telling you, it was
Well,
the whole
here you
thing.
are now. So clearly, yeah.
So here I am. I wrote books. I've been on TV and the radio. It's like, oh my God. I mean, she
Mhm.
was right. And mom and I took classes with her for over a year. And really, Ellen, the first night of class, when she started to describe what psychic abilities were,
Mhm.
honey, it was just like, well, yeah, I do that. Well, yeah, that happened. Well, sure, that happens. But, well, yeah, that happens. But I just thought everybody did these things. They had these visions in their mind that later came true. They would have thoughts that come into their mind just out of
Sure.
nowhere that would be an answer to a prayer. You smell the deceased. I mean, when they come to visit, you can smell their cologne. Uh, I had it all. And it was just a
And
matter
well, you had it all. How long did it take to
to
develop that?
really develop it, honey.
Yeah, yeah.
Took a while because I was so resistant. It really scared me. The whole idea of this scared me.
Mhm.
And oh my God, Ellen, you should have seen. Okay, so mom and I, we're like, okay, so we're going to be famous psychics someday. Well, what should we do? Well, we should probably get a Ouija board. Oh, okay. And
That's
let's see what else. Oh, we better buy some incense because psychics burn
that's what
incense.
they do,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
And
Just
that's
go to
it.
your local mystical shop
Exactly,
and then you're
exactly.
set.
And
Yeah.
Minneapolis had a mystical shop in the scariest part of the Twin Cities ever.
This
Nobody
this
goes there.
Can I say
And
this sounds like something out of an '80s movie?
exactly, I
It's so funny.
know. And, I mean, I think if mom and I could have worn bags over our heads to go into this bookstore, we were so nervous to go in there. And, I'm really, honey, it was in the seediest part of town. It's like, really, people go there and we go in and
Yeah.
there's incense and there's a Ouija board and there's all this stuff. And so we loaded up. I swear we bought $100 worth of incense and we were ready to go. Okay, here we go. That's how it all started, honey.
Alright, and then somehow it led you to a inclination to understand what you're perceiving. Um, so how do we understand what the soul is? Because there are a lot of psychics out there, and each one seems to have the slightly different interpretation. It's like, like people looking at the same object from different sides.
Yeah.
What's your interpretation of what the soul is?
You know what, honey? Let me tell you about the first ghost job my mom and I ever went on. Okay. So a lady calls.
Mhm.
She said, "Could you and one of your kids, a friend of my mom's, could you and one of your kids come over and look in my attic because we're hearing voices, we're hearing footsteps, things just are weird upstairs."
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in the car driving out there, and I said, "Mom, why are we going to Carol's?" "Well, honey, she thinks there's something going on in the attic." "Oh, okay." So I think some more. "Mom, are we looking for a ghost?" And she says, "Well, I'm not sure, but maybe."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, what do they look like?" And she said, "Well, I don't really know." And I said, "Okay. And then if we find one, what are we going to do with it?" And she said, "Honey, I don't know." Okay. So
That's
that's,
a great question.
I know.
Yeah.
So that was our first experience. And off we go to this lady's house. Now,
Yeah.
Alan, I was raised on Casper, the friendly ghost, this
Mhm.
little white blobby thing. So we go up to this lady's attic, and I'm thinking, okay, where's the white blob? No, oh, there's some people over in the corner over there. And I look at my mom and I said, can you see those people over there in the corner? And she said, mm-hmm. And I said, well, what do you think they're doing there? Because you could see through them. Okay, so they look just like people, just dressed normal,
But just
and you can
translucent.
see through them. So I'm like, uh, uh, I don't know why those people are there, but I continued to look for Casper. Honey, I didn't know. I honestly did not know that those people were what you would consider ghosts.
Mhm.
I didn't really understand that those people were souls. I didn't really know what we were doing. Mom didn't either. We needed a lot more learning before we were going to tackle something like that. But here's a really Ellen, here's where it really shifted for me, and this was many years later, honey.
Sure.
I uh, that's when I was doing a lot of healing work, and this woman called me. She asked me if I would come to the hospital. Her stepson fell 18 feet, landed on his head, and he was in a coma, and they were flying him up to the University of Minnesota Hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. She asked me if I would come up to the hospital and channel healing to him. Okay. So I went up to the hospital. I walked in the room just as the nurse was telling the family that if he ever came out of the coma, he would be a vegetable. That's the word they used back then.
Mm.
And um, they said, you would be smart to put him in a nursing home because if he comes out of this, he won't be able to feed himself, walk, or talk because they said there was so much damage to his brain. Okay. So the next day I went up to the hospital on my lunch break. Now here's this kid laying in this bed. He's all bandaged up, so I don't even know what he looks like.
Mhm.
And I'm standing there and I've got my hands on his body and I'm channeling healing. And all of a sudden, Alan, I hear a voice that says, would you please heal the speech part of my brain? I'd like to talk again. And I thought, where did that come from? And because there was no one else in the room but the two of us, I
Sure.
slowly turned around and leaning up against the wall, just like real casual, just leaning up against the wall,
Mhm.
he said, I'm the body that lives in, no, I am the soul that lives in that body. Okay, that's what he said.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
said, well, how can you be out of your body? And he said, oh, we come and go all the time. And then he said, when I am out of my body doesn't feel physical pain. And he said, so I'm trying to stay out as much as possible. And then again, he said, would you please heal the speech part of my brain? I'd like to talk again. I, I, I was stunned.
And
Okay.
did you feel you could do anything about that?
Oh, yeah, honey. I channeled healing to him. And every day for 6 weeks, I went up to the hospital and I
Mhm.
channeled healing to him. Um, it was really cool, too, because I would go into his room and I would just say, hey, Dale, it's Echo. I'm here. And I would either see his soul come up out of the body and he'd come right at me and talk to me, or he would come in from outside and he'd come into the room and tell me, hey, would you work on the back of my knee? It's really sore. Hey, would you work on my foot? It's really sore. The back of my neck is really sore. I have a headache today. And he literally guided me through that whole time. And 6 weeks later, when I was transferred back to this other job, he left the hospital walking and talking on his own. Mhm.
That's
But
crazy.
the coolest thing, honey, was that I saw the soul. I learned about the soul. And after that, when clients would come to me for healings, I would silently say to the soul, can you come out and talk to me and tell me what you need? And it would just come out of the body, just as gentle as can be.
So that's what you do with everyone
Yeah, honey.
you
Yeah.
work with?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is happening there with the healing? Is it the soul that's actually doing the healing and you're helping it?
I really think it's an energy that we say comes from God. It's a very, I'll tell you, my hands heat up like they're little heating pads, and they actually tremble a little bit like that. And then I work on the person for as long as I intuitively feel that they
Sure.
need for that day. And then all of a sudden my hands will stop and they cool off all by themselves and the session is over. That's how
So
it
it's
works.
a physical heat that you're feeling,
Yes, it's a physical heat, honey. Actually,
right?
some people that have been really sick, they've actually asked me to please keep my hands off the body because they're so hot. They feel like they're
Mhm.
getting burned. And they oh man, can they get hot? Yeah.
I had when I was much younger, I had a friend of mine who was studying Reiki healing, massage therapy. She was very much into body energy. And one night we were just hanging out. She wasn't practicing, and we're just talking, and she's talking about this, and she just kind of puts her hand out as she's just talking about this stuff
Yeah.
conversationally, and I felt this jolt. It was almost like electricity just vroom right through my body.
Okay.
It was uncanny. And there were also several occasions where we would be walking down the street together at night, and one of those lights would just pop off, not explode, but the light would just
I get
go
it.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
and at first you think it's just a coincidence,
exactly.
um, but after several occasions, you're going, okay,
Yeah,
and it's only when I'm with this person. That's very interesting.
I know.
Do
I
you do
know.
you have experiences like that?
Yes, I
I
do.
guess it's a
Yeah,
paranormal
I do.
experience.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
do. What was the first time something happened that surprised you like that?
Honey, oh, that was funny. One night I was with a friend. We were going to some people's house for dinner, and he had
Mhm.
taken the day off from work because his back was in so much pain. And so, I said to him, you know, would you like me to put my hands on your back? I mean, it can really make a difference. And he said, he didn't really believe in that stuff. And I said, okay, no worries. But
Mhm.
then he looked at me and he said, well, it can't hurt if you put your hand on my back. And I said, right. So, honey, I just took my hand, put it like that. I didn't, I just put my hand there. That
Yeah.
man went flying from the energy that went into his back. And he went forward
Sure.
like that. He turned around and looked at me and he said, what was that? And I said, well, it's the healing
Yeah.
energy. And he said, my back doesn't hurt anymore. And I said, well, I'm telling you, it's the healing energy, you
Yeah,
know?
I suppose it's not that far-fetched because an electromagnetic pulse strong enough would certainly create that sort of force through
Uh-huh.
someone's body and jolt them forward. And so if you are the human body, which, does generate electricity, um, if you are a conduit somehow and that kind of energy kind of builds up and then pushes out from
Yes,
you to him,
yes.
I mean, it's almost explainable, almost, in standard understanding of electromagnetic,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
science. So, do you think that being armed with that scientific knowledge makes a difference to you in your abilities? Does it
No.
show, in a sense, like supplement and strengthen it?
No, honey, I don't even really think about it in scientific terms. I just
Mhm.
know it's something that works. And It's one of those things that you just can't really explain, other than I explain it as asking God or the universe to send healing energy through me. And I feel it in my arms. I feel the energy coming
Yeah, yeah.
in, and then they just get so hot. And like I said, they tremble a little bit. And that's how it
So,
works.
what's the focus of your book?
Oh, okay. The new book called
What?
How to Live Happily Ever After Life. You know what, honey? This is based on, okay, eventually I overcame my fear of ghosts, sort of. And my brother, who, as I've said, is a psychic,
Mhm.
we started clearing houses ourselves. Okay. And what our spirit guides taught us is they said, okay, ask people what their name is and why are they there. All right. And
Okay.
so every time we would go to somebody's house to clear it, or a business, that's what we do. We walk around, we look for a soul. All right. They
Mhm.
look just like people. They look like they're dressed in regular clothing. We walk up to them. What's your name? My name is Alan. Okay, Alan, now why are you here? Why won't you go to the other side?
Mhm.
And there's a variety of reasons, but we have found that there's six main reasons why ghosts, why souls, why people choose to remain earthbound after they die.
Hmm.
That's what the book is about. And there's actually exercise. There's an exercise at the end of each chapter to help
Mhm.
the reader look at themselves. Like one of the reasons of the six is that they don't like change. They don't
Mhm.
like change. They woke up every day at the same time. They had the same thing for breakfast every day. They had the same thing for
Mhm.
lunch. They had the same thing for dinner. They watched the same programs every night. They went to the same church every week. And then they did it all over again. Okay.
Sure.
No change. These folks, when they die,
Yeah.
they want to keep going with their routine. They don't want to go to the other side.
Interesting.
Yes.
Um, have you ever heard the expression, like the prison of comfort, where
Oh,
you get
ah,
into a state of comfort, but
yeah.
you're really just trapped. You're not free. You're not growing, and you just comfort yourself knowing, okay, I'm comfortable. I don't want to change anything.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
my routine. I've got my job. I've got my money. I've got food on the table.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Yes.
but
Yes.
then you're stuck in that.
Yes. Very.
And
Very.
and I guess that translates to the afterlife is what you're
Yes,
saying.
honey, it does. It does. Now, not everybody that lives like that remains stuck, but I have met many who just say, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I want to stay here. Alan,
Mhm.
honest to God, I found a man, a ghost, in his 57 Chevy. 57 Chevy. Okay. This is a man
Mhm.
who is deceased who lives in his car because he told me, I love my car. I don't want to leave my car.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to the other side. And I remember thinking, okay, I thought I had seen everything, but now
Right.
here is this guy living in the back of his car,
Yeah.
and it was out kind of out on the driveway off to the side. And
Sure.
I went into the house and I said to the wife, do you know that your husband is living in this car? And she said, oh,
Mhm.
yeah, we all know it. Okay. She said, we can feel him whenever we walk by the car. And she said, my husband loved that car more than any of us. And she
Wow.
said, I'm not surprised at all that he lives in the car.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's Star Wars fans out there that pass on to the other side and stuck to their collections, like, 'cause that means more than anything.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
but is that a form of materialism, or
yes.
is it something else?
Definitely a form of materialism. Definitely. Yeah. And you see ghosts who they acquired a lot of wealth in their life and they don't want to leave it. They don't want to leave it behind. And so some of them stay here. They just stay here. And
Okay.
the problem is that after a while, a ghost gets bored. And that's when they start with their antics. They start making footstep noises. They bang on the walls.
Right.
They play with computers or TVs or radios. Spirits can manipulate energy pretty good. And so that's what they're doing is trying to get our attention. Really, they're lonely, they're antsy, they're bored. And so, okay, I think I'm going to start doing things so that maybe I can scare this homeowner. And,
Yeah.
their thinking is,
But if they're trying, if they're there, are are they trying to find the light, or no? They
no, you
just
know what?
simply decided.
You know, honey, all of them say to me, yeah, I know where the light is. I don't want to go to the light. I
All
don't want to
ghosts.
go to the light. Yeah. I mean, no, I don't ask every one of them, but the majority of
Mhm.
ghosts, they'll say when I've said, okay, you know about the light? Yeah. Okay. Is there a reason why you don't want to go towards the light? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
What is your reason? And again, that's what this book is about, is these different reasons. It's really something. And
Well,
the
we have
thing is, we have free will in our death, just as we do in life. So,
mhm.
I mean, I cannot make anybody go to the other side, but I can strongly suggest it. So, rather than being a ghost buster, it's really more about being a ghost counselor because you're listening to the ghost. Why are you here?
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
problem? Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, so the Ghostbusters in the movies really should be doing psychotherapy, not lassoing them with.
exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
we have a question from, Ron from Earth Radio. He says, "Why do the spirits hang out at my house?"
Well, God. Well, Ron, I can't see your house, but I mean, there could be a number of reasons why. Um, and I guess the one thing I would suggest is just ask them why. Why are you staying here? Why won't you go to the other side? And the answers will usually come into your head anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. All of a sudden, these thoughts
Hmm,
just come in out of nowhere. And that's the ghost's way of communicating to the person.
interesting. So you're saying that really anybody can do that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, honey, they can. Yeah. You know, most of us don't because most people are afraid of ghosts, but
Mhm.
we can ask them. And we really should treat them like, it's kind of like, well, if somebody walked in your front door tonight with their luggage and set it down and said, well, I'm going to live here for a while, we'd
Yeah, yeah.
probably say, no, you're not. You need to leave. But
Mhm.
that's the problem with ghosts is that when they do come and live in our home, um, we can't see them. We don't know they're there. And so they just kind of make themselves at home. Now, um, you know, back to Ron's question, it could be simply that he likes the energy, he or she. That's the other thing is of all the ghosts we've met, I'd say 90% of them are men.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
Um,
Why do you think that is?
I think it has to do with their fear of life after death, not really talking about it to anyone, not really
Mhm.
knowing what to expect. The number one reason that we get from these ghosts when we say, why are you here? Why don't you go to the other side? They are afraid that if they go to the other side, they are going to get sent to hell. That's the number one reason that we hear these ghosts will say, well, I've done some things that aren't so good in my life. And,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
just afraid if I go over there, God's going to get his hands on me and send me down to hell.
Is that the
So,
fault of human beings making other human beings feel ashamed of the mistakes that they've made or who they are?
honey, I'm going to say the fault is with religion because they teach us all of these things. We
Mhm.
somehow have all of us. we're raised to believe, okay, if you're a good person, you get to go to heaven. If you're a bad person, you go to hell. And
Yeah.
so what we start doing from the time we're little kids is, okay, every time we do a bad thing, oh God, I'm closer to hell than I ever was, that kind of thing. Okay. And even when we get to a place in our life where we say, I don't believe that anymore, it's still
Mhm.
in the back of our minds.
It's still
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
And yeah,
Well,
it
and
gives
that's the interesting thing is in my experience, and I consider myself a spiritual person, not religious, but
Mhm.
at the same time, even if none of it's true, and we live in a purely materialistic, from like a materialistic atheist point of view universe, I still think that that inner spirituality can be extremely valuable, and you can find your way
Yes,
out
yes,
of dark places without the use of an outside source.
yes.
But I still personally connect to, you know, the universe with a capital U. So it's probably easier for me to say that, but I do believe that what happens in our minds is the most powerful way
Mhm,
out of
mhm.
that darkness.
Yeah, I agree, honey. I agree.
And so when you're speaking to ghosts on the other side, are they looking to a god? Are they looking to a higher power when they're dealing with this guilt? Or because I guess if you're a ghost on the other side, that's confirmation that, oh, okay, there is this other reality out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, first of all, I I don't meet ghosts in heaven because once that soul lets go
Hmm.
and goes on into heaven, then they're considered a spirit. All right. So they have set themselves free from Earth's energy. Um, all right, and now I can't remember what you just asked me. My brain just went blank there, Alan.
That's all right. Maybe the ghosts don't want you to share their secrets. Um, but are they? Can you be a religious ghost? Can you be a
Oh,
spirit? Yeah.
oh, yes. Oh, yes, you can be a religious ghost. And that's where a lot
Interesting.
of that shame comes from and
Hmm.
the fear comes from. They have some very strong, scary beliefs in a God and in hell. They really have had that stuff pounded in them when they were living. And so, honey,
Hmm.
you know what? A lot of them are just too afraid to go to the other side and find out what the truth is. So they stay here.
From their point of view, as you understand it, what does the light or the tunnel or whatever it might be, what does it look like?
You know what it
Or
looks like? A big, huge, full moon. That's what it looks like.
interesting.
And honey, it's so obvious in the sky. I mean, when a soul dies and when they come out of the body, it's like it's almost the first thing they can see. It's so big. And the
Mhm.
angel that works with me, she said that the light, we should think of the light as the light on the porch of the front door of heaven. That's what she said.
The light on the porch of the front door
Yeah,
of heaven. So wait, okay, so now that tells me that we're leaning towards a heaven
yeah.
that actually exists.
Yes, it does.
See, that's where I get a little iffy in my
Okay,
spiritual beliefs.
okay.
Um, because, because we live in a universe that says there are multiple dimensions to
Yeah,
reality.
yeah,
So I wonder, because the heaven as I imagined it growing up was this place of, fluffy clouds and the golden gates, the things that you're taught in Sunday school.
yes.
But I'm wondering if when we say heaven, we're really just talking about another plane of reality.
Yeah, mhm. Yeah,
That's what you think it is.
yes. You know what? I've done some regression, done some hypnosis and regression, and have gone over to the other side just
Mhm.
because I wanted to see what is this place like. I mean, because if we're going to send ghosts to this light, I want to
Yeah.
know what the light is. I want to know where are we sending these folks. I mean, I really want to know. I don't want to think of it based on what I was taught in Sunday school. I want to go see it for myself, and that's what I
Mhm.
did. And it, I'm telling you, Alan, honey, I know this sounds so cliche, but it's like paradise. It's really, truly like paradise.
Like, okay, so here's the interesting thing.
Yeah,
So here on Earth,
yeah,
one thing that we learn is that the struggle is natural
yeah,
to our growth.
yes,
You know, we have to go through ups and downs. The question is, you know, how much of that pain is actually necessary, you know,
yeah.
to grow as a spiritual person because we all seek peace.
Mhm.
Um, so is there no struggle then? Is it just bliss, a state of bliss?
Honey, it really depends upon our frame of mind when we leave.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
just
when,
wonder if we continue to grow if we're
yes,
on.
we do continue to grow on the other side if we choose to. Some
I
people
see.
choose to go
Okay.
golfing instead. Okay. I mean, it's all available. So we can go fishing, we can go golfing, we can do the things we want to do.
Mhm. Well,
Um,
one of my favorite movies is What Dreams May
oh,
Come,
yes,
of
yes,
Robin Williams in regard to this
yes,
topic, because I
yes,
imagine if that's the afterlife, I like that version because in a sense, there isn't really a hell.
right.
It's a place of choice and of finding your way
Yeah,
towards that center.
yeah,
And so you I because I don't like this idea that you're condemned forever to eternity because I'm at the parallel for me is let's say you're working on you're making mistakes, but you're working on yourself in this
yeah,
lifetime,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then you die. You
yeah,
die before you had a chance to keep growing, and I see the afterlife like that
yeah.
because if you didn't get to grow and be a better person here, why should you be condemned for eternity and
That's right.
not try to keep growing?
That's right. That's right. And when we get over there, yeah, we continue on. We do. We continue on. Two of my friends have died in the last year, and they both worked a lot with people. One was a chemical dependency counselor. Another one was he was the head of reincarnation and research. And they are both continuing their work on the other side. They're my friend Walter, he's teaching people about reincarnation.
Mhm.
And she said that there's so many people over on the other side that dealt with addiction or had addiction when they were living. And she's working with them on the other side. So, honey, really, we continue on with our own growth and with work. If we want to work, we don't have to work, but if we want to, we can. um, and it's this whole thing about okay, so one of the things I saw when I went over to the other side was a community. And I was trying to figure, I talked to the angel about hell. And I said to
Mhm.
her, okay, so talk to me about hell. And she said, Echo, you know what? There's a community here very similar to what you people think hell should look like. And she said, it's people's thoughts. It's the people that say, oh, I just know I'm going to go to hell. I just know I'm going to go to hell. Those are the ones that go to this community. And she said, but then after a while, they stand there and they go, so what? I'm just going to stand here and look at flames from now until eternity?
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, is there a different way to look at everything? That's when they can come out of that. When they start to change their consciousness
Mhm.
and they start asking questions, that's when they break away from that consciousness and they start searching for different answers. So she
Interesting.
says this community on the other side is created from our consciousness.
Wow. So I guess that kind of answers Victoria's question, which is
So hell
hell.
doesn't exist. That's right. But the thing that's important to remember is what our state of mind is about death. So if we are convinced that we are going to go to hell because we were bad people, that is where we're going to go, to that place.
Mhm.
We won't stay there for very long.
Mhm.
There isn't a place down in the ground, underneath the ground, with flames shooting out. And I mean, really, if
Sure.
you think about it, How long
That,
can you
that
stand and burn? Really, what? It doesn't make any
I,
sense.
I kind of, yeah, I get. Well, I guess the idea is just you're in pain constantly. Um,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
but then I don't. I would think that over time maybe you would numb out, but I don't know.
You would think so.
This is supernatural, so it's possible, right? But Jill has she said, I
Okay.
always assumed it's bliss, but I've learned from Echo we bring some stuff over if we don't resolve it.
It's
But the
true.
question is, if you resolve, let's say you make amends to people in your life,
Yeah.
and you do the best you absolutely can
Yep.
to turn your life around, be a better person, small, large scale, whatever it might be.
Yep.
Isn't there always something that isn't resolved because you just can't? Someone
Yeah.
moved away or passed away, or
It
so
can
how do
be.
you deal with that?
You know what, honey? We can deal with it on the other side. When they come over to the other side, we can have a
Mhm.
conversation with them. We can make amends at that point. A lot of people, a lot of souls make their amends in heaven. So if we don't get to it while we're living, heaven, we get a lot of leeway over there, and there's no judgment about where we're at in our soul's progress.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of souls, you know, that's one thing I don't like seeing is all the baggage that a lot of people take with them home to the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
Souls that don't want to deal with their stuff and they die and they've got a ton of emotional pain. They take that with them over to the other side. But there's plenty of help over there to help us work through our garbage also.
When do we become the soul,
Oh,
the incarnate soul?
we are the soul, honey. We are a soul.
The whole body, mind, spirit?
The No, the body is like the angels say, the body is like an astronaut soup
Suit.
suit. Okay.
You'll be a soup if you don't have the suit on, right?
So when we get here, it's just like putting on an astronaut's suit.
Mhm.
Okay. But it's the soul, it's us. Your personality is your
Mhm.
soul.
But where does that come from? Where, like, when, are we just born with this soul,
We're
or
created.
did it exist previously?
Okay, honey, what I've been taught is that
Mhm.
when God created us, God is not a male physical formed being on the other
Yeah.
side.
No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, God is a combination of male and female energy. All right. God took a part of itself and created
Mhm.
each one of our souls. Okay. Now, when
Mm.
we were created, we were perfection. Our energy, we were perfection. But we didn't understand what that meant. We didn't understand a lot of things. Just like a brand new baby, they have no idea what they're in for. They have no idea what's coming. That's how our souls were. And that's why there is reincarnation, so that we have as many opportunities as possible to finally learn, understand our perfection, understand who we really are. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Gosh, the whole, mm, oh, honey, the whole reincarnation cycle is so fascinating. And it's all about, I remember I asked my teacher, well, when can we be done? And she said, when you can sit on the right hand of God. And I said, okay, I don't know what that means. And she said, in order to sit on the right hand of God, you have to have the same love, understanding, and compassion that God has for every living thing.
But this is symbolism because God doesn't have a hand, right? I mean, you brought it up, so.
Oh God.
All
I,
right,
I think
Echo, I have a comment from Victoria Elena, and She says, "I hope my dear dead ones found the help they needed." Um, and what you're saying is that they can, right, on the
Yeah,
other side.
they can. Oh gosh, there's so much help available to us on the other side. Yeah. Mhm. There's a hospital over there, and I'm sure there's more, but I only saw one hospital on my journey, and the whole second floor of the hospital is for suicide victims. And
Hmm.
every bed in there that I saw had someone, a caregiver there that was helping the soul that committed suicide. And the caregiver was there when the soul woke up from whatever way it committed suicide. When they wake
Hmm.
up, a lot of them are very confused. What happened? Oh, I didn't mean to do it this much. They have help right away if they want it. Now, I've also met some souls who were really cranky. Were not very nice people here when they were here. They're on the other side. They're still cranky. They're still not very nice people. They have no desire to change or to grow. They're still thinking they're victims. It's everybody else's
Yeah.
fault, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Do they
But
do they come to you for? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but people can, like the lady who just asked the question, you can tell your loved ones to go and look for the help that they need so that they can experience that beautiful place that they're now residing in. Yeah, yeah,
So almost like an afterlife, not an intervention, but a nudging
yeah,
to
honey. Yeah.
to keep working on oneself. And so you're saying they'll hear us.
Oh, yes, they hear us for sure. Yes.
Mm.
All we have to do is say their name out loud. I mean, when I talk to my mom, I talk to her out loud and just, Mom,
Mhm.
I hope you're having a great day. I'm missing you today. And then just leave it at that.
Do they give us signs that
Some
they
of
hear
them,
us?
yes, they can and they do. They have to learn how to do it. And that can take a little bit of time. They have to learn how to work with not having that astronaut's suit on anymore. It's like it takes just a little bit of time for the soul to remember how to function without the physical body. Hmm.
Okay. Victoria says, "Thank you," by the
Oh,
way.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, sometimes we do need to hear these things. People compare often different psychic mediums. Does that bother you when someone says, "Yeah, but my psychic says this," or they describe something as this? Is that
Uh,
okay, or is it?
well, the issue is that we all teach what we know personally, what
Mhm.
our consciousness is. And yeah, it's a bummer when I hear people saying things that just aren't true. But that's all that they know at that point. And hopefully 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road, when they continue to grow and they learn new things, they'll come back and tell people, you know what, I wasn't completely aware at that time when I said that. And I've since changed my mind. I mean, that can happen. And sometimes I hear psychics who have said things that you just go, what did you just say? I mean, it's just so ridiculous. And then a lot of the psychics that I have kind of grown up with,
Mhm.
we all seem to have very similar experiences. And nobody
Yeah,
really says anything that we all just go, ah, what are you talking about? Yeah,
I see. Understandings that overlap.
yeah, honey.
Um,
Yeah.
Jill W says, "So how long do we hang out before coming back down?"
They recommend 60 years, Earth years.
Oh, who recommends?
The guides on the other side, the elders.
Oh,
Okay.
we haven't even talked about the elders, and we only have
No, we haven't even,
minutes left.
oh my God, we could talk all night.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Um, the elders suggest waiting at least 60 years, but a lot of souls don't wait 60 years. They want to come back much quicker.
This,
But
real quick, Echo, is this elders like many masters, many lives?
yeah, mhm, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. People who have finished their reincarnation cycles. And
Mhm.
so they've been through all the things that we go through, and they're the ones that give advice to us. They help
Wow.
us. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a couple minutes left. If you could leave us with a thought, what would it be?
If there's anything going on in your life that still really triggers you, that you don't even want to look at because it's really hard for you to look at it, just look at it and deal with it. Don't take that stuff home with you when you die this lifetime. Be free from your earthly tragedies, I'll say. Be free so that when you go back to the other side, you're not taking suitcases with you of issues that you haven't dealt with. That's what I would say to people. And
Yeah.
that heaven is an absolutely fantastic place to go. It really is. And,
I
look
think
forward
that's
to it.
yeah, I think that's good advice just for the here and now as well.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
We have to unburden ourselves. The angel that works with me, she said, heaven is full of burdened souls, which is really sad. But
Interesting. Heaven itself is
yep,
burdened. Wow.
well, it's full of burdened souls. So
Echo, thank you so much for joining tonight on this special pop-up episode of Paranormal Now, just for Echo Bodine. Because I really wanted to have her on the show. And we couldn't do Thursdays, so
no, I
tonight's a
couldn't.
special
No.
night. So thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thank you, Alan. Oh,
Okay, everyone, please go check out Echo's website, echobodine.com. And everyone in chat, thank you so much for your comments and your questions. I really appreciate it. This has been an action-packed week. We had Heidi Hollis on last night. We've got Echo Bodine here. On Thursday night, we have Marie Jackson, Ghost Hunter, and then we have Charles Lear, who's talking about the history of UFO investigators. So it's a fun week. Yeah,
wow.
thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And until next time, peace and love. And as always, live in the mystery.